Hi everybody and welcome back to Diana's Place. Today we're going to be making some amazing soup. It's called carrot ginger soup. I love it. It's nourishing, it's delicious, and I think you and your whole family will love it. So let's get started. This soup recipe is one of my favorites. It's out of a book that I love and I've introduced it to you before, and it's Run Fast, Eat Slow. Everything in this book is fantastic, and one of my favorite recipes is the carrot ginger soup. It's a double whammy of antioxidants and anti-inflammatories. It's the perfect soup. It's fast to make, it doesn't have many ingredients, and you can pull it together really quick. So let's get started. We have 2 yellow onions that go into the base of it. I'm going to show you how I chop an onion. This is one onion. This is the other. So they're just a medium small size. Yellow onions are strong in their flavor, but what they do in the soup is bring out the sweetness of the carrots. So what I did is peeled it. I leave the root stem intact so that it holds together when I cut it. I'm going to go down the center. This is not fancy cutting. It's just very quick because it's just going into the soup and it will eventually be pureed. I'm going to cut it into quarters and just tinier quarters and tinier. You see how it's holding together because that root end is there. If you cut that off, it's really hard to do. So that's it. I'm just going to give it thin slices. Be careful on how big the onions are that you buy. I've come across some yellow onions recently that are enormous. They look like Spanish onions. So don't get 2 of those. It'll be too much. Just medium to small. So now we have 2 onions chopped. Also using fresh ginger. Ginger is such a good ingredient for you. It helps with digestion. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's delicious because it adds a sweetness and a spiciness. Ginger is a perfect combination with carrots. They're just beautiful together. I'm going to grate a tablespoon, a generous tablespoon. This grater is a medium-sized grater. I use it for cheese. I use it for ginger, zesting. If you've not bought ginger before, you want to peel it. It has fibers in the center. So I work around the center to get the softer edges of the ginger. I've got a nice sized soup pot here, and I'm going to heat it up to medium-high. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. You could use olive oil, but the recipe says butter, and so why not? I love butter. You want enough butter in there. It says 2 tablespoons. You might need a little bit more to make sure that there's enough to cover the bottom so that when we add the onions and the carrots, that they are going to be evenly coated in butter and not burn or scorch. So I want to take a moment and talk to you about the ingredients. There's few ingredients, but you want to make sure you nail them and get the right one. There's a lot of choices in carrots when you go to the vegetable section. Always get organic, the freshest carrots you can get. They are sweet and full of flavor. We're also using chicken stock. Now, I love to make my own chicken stock, and I typically do have it in the freezer. However, I don't have it today. And I want to show you the quick way to make this soup because oftentimes we're just in a hurry. We want to get something pulled together fast. This is a brand I like. I also buy 2 of them, even though 1 container would probably do me for the soup. But I get 1 that is unsalted and 1 that is, and I use half and half. I really watch my sodium. It makes a huge difference in how I feel. You don't need to overdo the salt in this soup. It's full of flavor, and that's the last thing you want to do is kill it with too much sodium and make it unhealthy. So our butter is melted, and we're going to add the onions. And again, that's 2 small to medium-sized yellow onions chopped. We're also going to add just a little bit of the ginger, about a teaspoon, and we will be adding the rest of it at the end. This is the rest of our onions. We're also going to put in 4 cups of chopped organic carrots. I'm going to just add a half teaspoon of salt. One of the tips I want to give you that I learned from a chef, and this is important, don't add too much salt at the start of your cooking. The flavor goes away and you end up adding and adding and adding, trying to get that flavor up, and you don't need to do that. I add the salt at the end because then the flavor is most prominent and you're using the least amount necessary to get the pop of flavors that you want. This is going to saute and cook for approximately 8 minutes until the vegetables are tender. I'm going to cover this up, keep the heat in, peek on it every few minutes, and leave it for 8 minutes. So the carrots and onions have been cooking for 8 minutes and they're perfect. I want to show you with a fork how they're cooked. They wouldn't be quite done if you were going to eat them, and that's how you want them. So there's a little resistance to when you push it in. Now we're going to add 4 cups of chicken stock. And as I said earlier, it's 2 cups of unsalted chicken stock and 2 cups of salted. That way you're controlling the sodium and keeping the flavors more about the carrots than about salt. We're also going to add 2 tablespoons of rice, white rice. The purpose of the rice in this soup is to create a creamy texture instead of adding any cream. That's the thing about this soup that I love, is that it's just so healthy and not high fat. I'm going to crank that up and get it boiling. It's going to take approximately 40 minutes for this to get really soft and cook. It might be sooner, but we're going to keep an eye on it. When it's done, we'll come back and puree it. Top it off with some fresh lemon juice and more fresh ginger, and it'll be ready to eat. It's delicious. You're going to love this soup. So our soup has been cooking for just about 40 minutes. We were waiting for the rice to really get cooked so that it's really soft. Now we're going to puree it. You want to make sure the immersion blender is just as it's called, immersed into the liquid. If not, it's going to splash and go everywhere. So I tilt it and make sure it's right in there. And I just let it go. Be careful. It can make a mess. So this is really quick. Now, if you were doing this and you found that the vegetables weren't chopping up and getting smooth quickly, it may mean that they need a little more time, but you can't ruin it. So just know you can just put it back on the heat, wait a little while, and then puree it. I'm just swirling it around to make sure I get all of the carrots pureed. You can see how creamy it is. It looks like I've added cream and I haven't. It's just beautiful. We're not finished yet. I'm going to add a few more things. So to top this off, we're going to add lemon juice. It's going to brighten the flavors. There's 2 tablespoons of fresh squeezed lemon juice. And now we're going to add the fresh ginger. This is the tablespoon. Now if you remember, we had a generous tablespoon at the start and I cooked probably about a teaspoon into it at the beginning. So I'm going to finish it off. But because ginger is strong, I'm going to do half the amount and taste it. Always remember you can add, but you can't take it away. It has a nice thick consistency. Now if it tends to be a little too thick, you could just add some water. You could add more stock or water. And I'm going to taste this. It's burning hot. Wow, that's really good. The one thing I'm going to add to it at the very end is fresh cracked pepper. Probably about a quarter teaspoon, half teaspoon. And again, you can add this when you're serving it. This is wonderful with homemade fresh dinner rolls. In my next program, you will see how I make them. It's a fantastic recipe that you'll love to make. So I hope you'll watch both of them and put them together for a meal for your family. I think they will be really impressed. So the soup is ready to serve right away. I love to serve things in white. The colors just pop. So to dress it up a little bit for presentation, you can put a little dollop of sour cream or creme fraiche, a little sprig of parsley. I did some cilantro, and it makes it look so pretty. I hope you've enjoyed today's program, and I really hope you'll try this soup. It's fast and it's fantastic. If you've enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave comments, and I'd love to get back in touch with you. Until next time, take care, everybody. So I hope you watch. I hope you make it. Whoa, that's a little scary. No. What do I want to say about that? The only thing I'm going to add is just a little more. No. So thank you. No. Okay, that's not the end because I'm going to, right? I love making soup. There's nothing more satisfying or delicious to have.
Okay, okay.
So I hope that you'll make it. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Is that what I want to say?